From the revolutionary streets of Soweto to a country that is free today, we are in June month, the month of the young people of South Africa. Mapara, Mazoti, Diotedi hot, di cheapy. And we're discussing issues that affect our young people. My name is Lorato Khomolemo, Moradia Khomolemo, Morolongo Lobati, Wakalobati le Matswana. Ke abe ke buile re tlo go bua. Ga ke tsamaye ke le esi. Gompieno we are discussing credit scoring. I am joined by my people who are always with me, and we are today coming live to you from the Melted Butter. Re gana go tsamaya mo ka gore it's warm, they're treating us well, and we're enjoying ourselves. Now we want to begin conversations that we are able to have as families. Credit scoring is but one of the most important issues that as young people we must pay attention to, because we do not want to start our lives re imetswe ke dikoloto tse re sa itseng gore re bereka jang ka tsone. So it is important that we have critical conversations that affect our young people. Let me tell you who I am with today. Lebo?
Hi Lorato, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I can't complain.
I am happy. Tell our people who you are.
My name is Lebo Siani. I am from FNB, and I will be dealing with Lorato and the panel regarding everything credit scoring.
I'm happy. O gana go tsamaya mo mangawong wa itseng tatetshio. Ke nagana yalo wa itse. Ga o nagane gore re go batla le mokhukunyana.
Ke gopela le se la senyana.
Ne? How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Introduce yourself to our people.
Okay, my name is Tapelo Tsiu, and I am from Nedbank. I'm very happy to be here as we'll be covering the topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My love. The extra love on the set.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm great. Yourself?
I am good, thank you.
Fantastic.
Tell our people gore kwena ma ke a itse gore nna I call you my love.
Yeah.
Mara ga ba itse gore goreng.
All right. Thank you, Lorato. Ke Lerato Mabale, all the way from Standard Bank. I'm the hub manager there, and I'm here to talk credit scoring, good credit, and everything that will make us move forward.
Now, thank you so much. It's good to have my panel here with me today. Now, MEC will be joining us later on. We know that it is June month, and the province is handling everything young people. So she is going to come morning. It will be good to have her on set. But I want us to begin this conversation properly. You are the, again, now, talk to us about credit. Credit, because you know Haribua, credit card, jalo jalo. But what is credit?
Okay, thank you, Melorato. When you talk about credit, really simply, it is the ability to borrow money,
Okay.
or even goods and services,
Okay.
with the understanding that you will pay later.
Okay.
Yes. So now, the lender of the money needs to make sure that they can be sure that the money will be paid back.
The lender.
The lender.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So the lender has to look at two things.
Okay.
They need to look at the borrower's ability to pay and the willingness to pay.
Borrower's
Ability.
Kore gore a ke kgona ke na le ke na le bokgoni jwa go adima ke na le bokgoni jwa go busa. There we go.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And Joale, when we look at then the willingness to pay, that is where we have credit report companies or the mechanisms to make sure we can be able to measure your credit worthiness as the borrower.
Okay.
And that is why we then ultimately get to the credit score.
Okay.
Yes.
Lovers. Tapelo ke o re tlisitse ya nong a ke ratla. Credit scoring.
Yes.
Ke eng credit scoring?
Opposite happen. How we work at credit scoring. He's talking about something very, very critical
Okay.
for you to be able to borrow, being it from a financial institution, being it from a service provider, like he mentioned. Because remember, you're not just borrowing money. You're borrowing. Sometimes you can even borrow a service. Sometimes you can even borrow a product.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, you should be able to say, I'm able to pay this. Now, when we talk about your credit, the ability to say, am I credit worthy? Am I somebody that can be trusted?
Right.
Now there, remember we've got bodies that are working independently. Each and everything that you do every day with your money, they track it without you knowing it. For the fact that you've got an ID, you are already registered on that system.
Aha.
So as and when you go to a retail shop, you get credit there. You go to a financial institution, you go to a cell phone company, anything that you do that is credit related, they keep track of that. Now, when they keep track, they check. If you take this service and the agreement is that you're getting paid on the 15th of every month, so they can draw their installment on the 15th of every month, are you paying them on that date? Are you sticking to what you agreed upon? So that's now you trying to build what? Your credit score.
I see.
With all these credit products that you are acquiring from different people.
So ha ke ile go tsa account. A kere ke a simolola botshelo.
Yes.
Ke a go tsa account gore ke kgone go ithekela diteki. Right? Ke tshwanetse ke patale ka nako.
Yes.
Right? So ha ke patala ka nako, credit score sa me sa tlhatlhoga.
Sa tlhatlhoga.
Right. Ha ke patala madi a ke rileng ka re ke tla patala. Se a tlhatlhoga.
Se a tlhatlhoga.
Right.
Ha o patala more
Right.
than what we
I had
agreed
initially.
Yeah, let's
Right.
say your installment, just a silly example, your installment is 200 rand. When you pay 210 rand, that 10 rand extra, it's showing the creditors, we can trust this person. So it's actually a good thing when you are starting your career and you want to build a good credit score. If the provider says your installment is going to be 150, make it 155 rand. That 5 rand will do you good in terms of your credit scoring. As simple as that.
I see. Leboe, a re bue ka the healthiness. Why is it important for me to have a healthy credit score?
Well, I think my fellow panelists have already said it. If you've got a healthy score, you are now more trusted, meaning that we can trust you with, like you said, you are starting your life
Yes.
right now. So later on, you need a house, you need a car, you need, the basics in life. So we will be able to trust you with more.
Right.
Once you've built that credit score. So it is a vital thing to work on as early as possible to make sure that when you come to a financial institution and ask for help in terms of getting a roof over your head, that we can say, no, Lorato is trusted to get this product because she's shown on her ITC history
Yes.
that she can be trusted. You see.
I see.
Yes.
Now, Thapelo, go na le matsatsi a re buang ka credit scoring, re bua ka credit report. What's the difference?
Okay, so re ke start ka a credit report. A credit report consists of many components. It includes a credit score.
Okay.
It includes your payment profile.
Okay.
Yes, are you paying on time? Are you paying in arrears? It includes all the credit facilities that you have.
Okay.
It includes even the inquiries that you or that have been made under your name
Okay.
by maybe other financial institutions.
Okay.
So it includes quite a number of things. It also includes information if you are under debt review. It
Okay.
will flag it there. So
Okay.
that whole report is a credit report that consists that. So credit score is one component of it.
I see. Jaanong ha ke batla credit report ya ka a ke re nako tse ding ga ke itse credit score ya ka and then ga ke itse credit report ya me. I'm just living. A ke kgona go a go ikopa and ha ke ikopa ko go mang?
Okay, thank you so much. That's actually a very good question. Most of the financial institutions now, they do have apps where the credit report or credit score is built into the app.
Okay.
right? However, there are many other vendors such as TransUnion,
Okay.
such as ClearScore, such as Experian, and many others.
Okay.
Where people can be able to go and check their credit report and get their credit score.
And engage with it.
100%.
All right, jaanong ha ke kreile ke bona gore maemo a ka a go adima kgotsa go tlhoka go busa ke re lwa re bokgoni jwa go adima le bokgoni jwa go busa. Le rata ke se tlhole ke na le bokgoni jwa go busa ke kreile credit report ya ka ke batla go e baakanya re bereka jang?
That's a very great question, and I'll tell you why. Most of the people are currently frustrated at the fact that there's some few things that they did because of circumstances that impacted their credit scoring negatively.
Okay.
So now they're at a position whereby they want to acquire certain things in their life. But now, because of credit scoring, yabon, high sharp, renale matat.
Right.
So the first thing you need to, let's say now, remember, once you start working, there should be one financial institution that you entrust with your money.
Okay.
Now you go to your banker and say, look, now that I've got my credit score, now that I understand that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 needs attention, I need to get myself cleared
In order.
in order. Now, so many things that can go wrong. Number one, we can talk arrears. When we talk arrears, we talk accounts that you are behind with, that you can quickly say, this is a quick one, I can go and pay them and pay my accounts up to date. So that one you can fix now in terms of, I'm gonna make an example. Let's say you've got a retail account and you are behind with 2 months.
Okay.
You can fix it now if you've got the money and go to that retail account, pay them,
But the-
and then you are sorted.
Fine.
Now the second one, it's the critical ones now. We're talking your judgment. We're talking your adverse. We're talking your
Adverse ke eng ke batla gore re baakanya a ke re ke gore le ka
Ehe.
sekgwa se ra se bua
Sekgwa se-
ke batla gore
Eh.
re rute ko gae gore adverse
Adverse ke
judgment
eng?
yone e betere
Ke-
nna ke a
wa
itse
itse,
nka e tlhalosanyana ka
ehe.
sekgwanyana sa ka se se
Aha,
bokoa
aha.
adverse ke eng?
Adverse ke eng,
Right.
alright. So, like you said, judgment wa itse ke ele-
nna ke a itse ba
Ke ba
tlhalosetsa
tlhalosetse.
tlhalosetsa ko gae gore nna
Adverse
nna le
ke-
wena ra e tlhaloganya
Eh.
judgment mare boela ko gae o ba bolelele gore judgment ke eng
ba re bua ko
boa kwa ba ya kgakala
Now, ha re bua ka judgment, we're talking about, for instance, let's say ontso sa patale this retail account for quite some time.
Right.
They've been sending you messages, they've been calling you, they can't get hold of you, or you avoided their calls, which is a popular one. They end up baya ko di attorneys tsa bona, but we can't locate Lorato.
right
And she's owing us money.
okay
Do us justice. Now, those attorneys ba try ho thola, they don't succeed in getting you.
Right.
Now they go to court and get your name listed
okay
as somebody that did not pay them, and then they put a judgment against your name.
I see.
Which means now bana le flaganyana e ba e beya mo leineng la gago gore ska ba la motshepa oa o ntse re tshwere sengwenyana.
I see.
Wa e bona?
Right.
Now, in the same manner, adverse is almost the same thing
Okay.
as that one of judgment. However, adverse is that one e leng gore ha re ise re itle ko court. A ke re di tsama ka di stage.
Eh,
A ke re ke di areas pele
Right.
o ko morago
Eh.
ke di agristraga. wa e bona ge
Ke yone.
yaanong ha e tloga mo e ya kae ko adversing
Right.
akere
Eh.
ba ntse ba bua
Ba ye.
sentle le wena
Go a ya.
o ko legaleng mare ya that institution
Right.
yaanong ha ba
Ba batla
lemoga
go
gore
baakanya.
ha ba lemoga gore mare motho ha atle man ke teng mo le mo ba yang kae khoto e nna a judgment
I see.
akere
Okay.
now ke wena o le yanong o batla go ipankanyanong o bone diphoso tsa gago o batla go dira your financial standing e be in good standing
Right.
now the first thing that you do you need to understand or now who are the people that listed you when you get the report. And then once you get their name, there will be, because of remember I mentioned court, there's going to be a case number next to that account.
Okay.
Once you understand or now who are these people that listed me, you try your level best to do what? To get hold of them and say, people, I understand what I
Ke nna
did
yo.
institution mamang wrong,
Eh.
but now I'm ready to talk.
Okay.
The nice thing is, in most instances, you will be communicating with the attorneys that are representing that institution that you are owing money to. And then you say to them, guys, I've been in a run for 3 years, but eventually I found something, I found a job I want to pay. Can you please negotiate for me to get a discount? So even if maybe you are owing them 50,000, and now that you are coming clean, they can even go and negotiate for you and say, your person is here. She's willing to pay, but can we cut her some slack? And then they will give you some sort of a discount and say, now that you are here and you are willing to pay, instead of you paying us 50,000 with that interest,
Yes.
can you please give us, maybe they can even, you can get up to even 50% discount, depending on how good you are with negotiating.
How we puelela.
Wa ipuelela. Now, once you've done that, you pay them, and after paying them, you come back and say, can I get my letter as proof that I've paid you guys?
Ke kopa ko go mang? Lekwalo
O
le
le kopa ko di-lawyereng tsele tse
tsentse ke bua le
tse o ntse o
tsona.
bua le tsone.
Okay.
Ba tlo o fa that proof e na le the case number.
Aha.
Now you take the proof e na le case number,
Eh.
copy of your ID, o communicate le mang bo ntate ba le ba optithapelo ba buileng ka bona bo TransUnion bo Experian bo ITC bo mamang.
Eh.
And then you tell them, "Oh guys, I've got this judgment on my name, but now I want to clear it. Here's proof that I've paid them."
So ke a itsaya lekwalo le.
Ehe.
A ke khona go ya le ko bankeng e ke bankang ka yona. Ka lekwalo le kgotsa ke ya go go ba bang kwalang bushula ba re ke a kolota. Ke a kae?
The best thing is, once, remember now, ba bantse ba go kwala bushula,
Eh.
ba tswile mo go wena ba go neile di-lawyer, akere?
Right.
So the easy way is rather go directly to the ITC,
Okay.
being it Experian or TransUnion, because I'll tell you what, most of the people, they go through the attorneys, but now,
Madi.
and ha rena madi.
Ke a dumela.
So how we kisa straight, how patale ope, ba go cleara. And then the process can take anything from 21 days minimum, depending on how critical was your credit standard.
I see.
However, if I don't know, I don't have a clue, I'm frustrated, you can go through the attorneys, but it talks to money when you go through the attorneys. That is the challenge.
I see. Ke batla gore re tle go bua about the issues of black tax. Le gore di re affecta yang ka gore a lot of young people ba na le matsapa a ba tsayang ko gae. Re gola malapa a sa lekane, re gola mathata a le gone ko gae. O simolola e le wena o bereka ko gae o bo tshwanela o baakanye mabaka ko gae. Now I want us to put that into context ha re bua re tlo go bua ka yone so that we put it into context in terms of how it affects my credit scoring. Ra bua o ska ba ya go tsamaya go tsaya copy ya tee. Ha o bua, I should also tell you the MEC is joining us in the next segment. Ke lo reile ha re simolola ka re o tla ba le gone re tle go bua le ene khale re sa mmone. It's been a while. She's been all over the province sorting out provincial issues so that le rona re kgone go phela sentle jaaka batho ba Freestata sontse o ya gope ke rona ba re santse re le gone.
Good day, everybody. My name is Benny Mvala, and I'm from Standard Bank, and I'm so excited that we are part of this awesome program that the MEC Treasury is running in the province. Today we were talking about savings, and I must say it is very important that in our families, as individuals, as families, as communities, that we start building a savings culture, because remember, whatever that you're not going to save for, you're going to have to find an alternative way to finance it. So let's start building that savings culture. Let's start saving if you're going on vacation. Start saving for when you need to go fix that pothole damage on your car. For whatever the reason is, let's have a goal and build a savings culture that our children can have something that they can work on. Thank you.
Good day, my name is Sahamiti Tai. I'm the accounts manager from Vodacom, looking after public sector. And you might wonder why Vodacom. People know us as just a cell phone and a SIM card, data and airtime, but we are actually more than that. So as Vodacom, we've positioned ourselves very well. We've moved from the normal mainstream that people have known us, and we're calling ourselves as telco. And then within that, we have financial services as Vodacom that we can actually provide to our citizens here in Free State. So we commit ourselves, to the Department of Provincial Treasury here in Free State to bring up those solutions that we can teach our citizens across the Free State province. So thank you.
Welcome back. We are in Mangaung. We are learning more about credit scoring. Now, MEC is here. MEC,
Hello.
how are you?
Very good. How are you?
It's good to see you.
Yes.
You've been missing
in
in action. We know that you handle multiple things, and we're always just so thankful when you are with us.
Thank you so much.
It is good to see you.
Thank you so much.
How's the cold treating you?
Lovely, actually.
Is
Lovely.
it?
It's nice to just layer and layer and layer. So we ladies love that.
I love that. Now, we have been talking about credit scoring, obviously, and we're thankful that you are able to join this conversation with us. Now, I want us to contextualize. Sometimes when we say these things, when the experts talk about them, interest rates, this, that, we're not able to make them applicable for our people. I want us to speak particularly to you about why it is important for us to have this conversation because of issues of black tax.
Yeah.
And I know, we call it black tax because of how dark it makes our days as young people who are just coming into the workforce. And we have so much that needs to be paid. But talk to us about the importance of having this conversation in relation to black tax.
No, thank you very much. And it's lovely to be back. And I'm so happy to see our guests and our stakeholders. And earlier on, it's very interesting conversations. And I think this program has been really productive and supportive towards many, many South Africans and Free Staters across the breadth of our regions. So black tax and credit scoring.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you a story about myself. I'm going to start there and bring it home. I was 19 years old, employed at corporate SA for the first time at 19. Before that, I did some work. It was temporary work at doctors, the accounts, and so on. But at a bank with the salary slip. This is my net profit.
First
my what is it? Your net salary and your gross salary and taxes and whatever it may be. And lo and behold, we needed a vehicle. My dad was an owner of a spaza store, and he had a bakkie, and he used to go to the market and go buy vegetables and
Yes.
come back and sell it at a little community store that he had. And it broke down and we needed to get to work.
Aha.
So mom needed to get to work, I needed to get to work, dad was doing his business,
You're still staying at home.
still staying at home,
Right.
19 years old. And I must have earned like 2,700 Rand a month, still paying rent at home,
Right?
still contributing to my brother and their studies.
Lev was whispering, rent at home.
Yes, my mom was very smart. Even if it was 100 or 200 Rand, I needed to do that. But the first thing I needed to do was my very first loan was an RCP, to buy, which is a revolving credit plan, to purchase a Monza that was 15,000 Rand at the time.
My goodness.
And it's a heavy car.
Yes.
And I had to open the bonnet to lift the choke so that this car warms up before it could go, otherwise it doesn't work.
Right.
And that was the family vehicle. And it was against, the daughter was the oldest, with the first salary coming in, even if it was as small as it was.
Right.
And that was my contribution to home. And it still happens that way today. You know,
Yes.
it's many, many years later. I have my mom living with me. I have my brother living with me. I have my sister living with me, and their kids. And in my culture, you don't just allow people to be spread all over the
Yes.
If you're not married, you have to come together. You bundle as a family, and then you go
You
and
help one another.
You help one another. So today, I still contribute black tax, and it's not only to the immediate family, it's the aunties and the uncles, and you know, my dad's brothers would be like my father, and whatever ventures they still into, it's like, oh, you are prominent in society, you can help me.
Yes.
You know, and
Yes.
you can do this, you know what I mean? So how does it affect your credit scoring? Another story I'm going to tell you.
Right.
And this is something I've said to the banks before, is that we have a system in the financial services sector, and this is to no dismay to our systems, but it's structural for many, many years, is that if you have a job and you can work, the bank is comfortable with that because there is a consistent salary. We know how much is coming into the account. You can look at the average deposits into the account over
Right.
a period of time, and that forms part of credit viability.
Right.
That's the one thing. The other thing in terms of credit viability is how you are able to pay your debt. So on the credit bureau system, even if you don't do debt into one bank, or you can do it through many banks or other entities, they're able to see all of that. And your ability to repay. How do you manage your budget? How to repay? And that then allows for good credit score to be generated in order for you to have any type of loan. In tough economic times now, the two things that we must realize, if we don't have savings, we're going to tap into loans. And by
Yes.
tapping into loans, we are then further reducing our disposable income through interest that we are paying and through capital repayments. But that set aside, the point that I want to bring home today, and a discussion that I want this team to have, is that if you are a salaried earner, it's easier for you through credit scoring to have a credit card, to have a overdraft, to have a home loan, to have vehicle asset finance.
That is correct.
Because you are able to bench line what it is that you can afford to repay on those line items. And it can be up to 2 million Rand. But if you're a business owner and you'd like to borrow 2 million Rand from a bank, you are not going to have such an easy task. And they will tell you why. I won't go through it because we're going to deal with the business segment later.
Correct.
So my view to everyone out there is to be able to understand today how to build up good credit scoring. That is my objective out of the session today.
Okay.
What do you do to build up a good credit score? The second conversation must be is to what is good debt and what is bad debt. So you don't take out a loan to eat. meaning to buy food, meaning to buy aspects that is going to
Eat away.
erode
Yes.
your investment. If you're going to take out debt, most importantly, debt to investment, and that could be property, that could be any type of asset that could look into an appreciation value over a longer term. So a house is not a bad thing to get into debt for. Because at a later time, you could utilize the appreciation value to make more money, either through access bond or through sale or rental or whatever it may be. So I think those are the other conversations that we will have. So when you deliver a good credit score and you need to find ways to borrow money, make sure the purpose for borrowing is specifically towards ensuring that your investment and the amounts that you are spending is not eroding through inflation, through interest, and through appreciation value of your asset. So I would like to take that home. And ultimately, I can say this, the debt that I got into, I was 19 years old, it was a vehicle. I was able to pay that back. I was able to purchase a small property at 23 years old. That property will now go to my baby son one day, and that's how we create generational wealth. And that was through a loan that I've taken at some point that can be transferred into generational wealth at another point, but through proper advice, through proper financial support, and through proper guidance. And sometimes property, to be honest, if you invest too much into a property that's already at the appreciation threshold, at that appreciation threshold, you find that you cannot find ways to grow that asset anymore. It's not worth purchasing. So also making sure that you make the right decisions. But that's my issue on black tax, and that's my issue on credit scoring. I hope we can pay it forward someday, and the little good that we've learned in our own experiences and what we see in supporting clients. I've supported clients for more than 10 years in making the right decisions when it came to credit and when it came to investing for families and generational wealth. I think this would be possibly part of how we would want to provide you with the right advice today. So yes, thank you very much, Lorat.
MEC, just, I know we have to let you go, but before we do that, it's June month, and we're speaking credit scoring because we want to speak to young people about the fundamental things that affect them as they grow, one of which is credit scoring. Your advice to your young Free Staters and possibly young South Africans who should remember fundamental things that are important when it comes to their credit score.
All right, I'm going to touch on that, but let me just start with a message to young people.
Right.
Over the next 10 years would possibly be, between the ages of 20 and 30, would possibly be the biggest decision-making span in your life cycle that you'll ever have to make. You have to make marriage decisions, some of you. You have to make financial choices. Some of you have children. Some of you still deal with family. You still deal with the generational guilt of, I have to give my mom because she sacrificed so much. I have to give my dad because they sacrificed so much. So a lot of your financial decisions right now would be the most important financial decisions that you'll ever have to make in your entire life. So here are two things when it comes to managing and dealing with credit. First and foremost, don't be afraid of credit, because the bank is not going to give you a loan if you don't have a history of any lending. So there has to be some sort of accessibility to some lending, some borrowing.
And I think, MEC, sorry, that's why you said there must be a consideration and a discussion between good credit and bad credit,
Right.
so that our people know what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think part of that should also have a discussion with loan sharks. I think at some point we should have a loan shark individual in the room, because I think it's important. It is a business. It is part of what it is that is in our informal economy and society. We cannot shy away from it. We need to provide them with access to a platform that can also be able to understand the pros and cons towards it. But loan sharks are very expensive. And it's easier to access funding through a mechanism that is not duly regulated through the financial services sector. And it is when there is loopholes or shortcuts, if I could call it that, one would find that the ability to manage that becomes a lot more tedious than a regulated environment. So just be careful of that. But as I was saying, the first thing is do not be afraid of credit. Start finding mechanisms to borrow. Leverage financing, and that is not only in business. It is the ability to find money to make more money. And that could be in trading, in your new digital economy, or whichever ways that you could do. So if it means that you're borrowing at 5%, but you're investing to have a yield at 14%, that could be a better offset. So that's called leveraging. And that way you'd be able to find that that type of loan could possibly, over time, and the yield could be make more sense, but bankers would be able to calculate all of that and show you the difference in the rand and cents. And then thirdly, it is to be able to repay on time. And if you're finding with an economy that is as tough as this, we're looking at increased inflation, increase in interest rates. If you're unable to meet your obligations, the banks are willing to make arrangements. Take a payment holiday, either on your home or whichever loans that you have, so that you don't find yourself defaulting at the banks while having the creditors come back to you and say, I am going to have to take you through to credit control or lawyers. So make those specific arrangements, allow your bankers to understand your current situation and be able to have that conversation openly and transparently in order to make the right decisions during that time. And if you can handle managing your processes in that way, your credit scores should not be diluted or dwindling because of your relationship with the bank. So those are my advices to you. Thank you very much.
I am so glad you joined us. Thank you so much, MEC. MEC says find money to build money.
To make money.
To make money. So we need to find money to make money. And I think it is important that we do that, MEC, because this economy that we are in right now is riding on a lot of young people, especially to create businesses that are viable and sustainable for this market. We're going to be right back as we continue. Lebo and I are going to talk about, MEC was talking about she was paying rent at home. I was buying bricks at home because my mother had decided to renovate the house. So everybody had to contribute a brick.
Yeah.
To that. That was part.
Beautiful.
You see? So we are going to talk about these things and how they affect our credit loans. We'll be right back.
Thank you very much.
My name is Lifale Tunkosi. I'm here representing Nedbank and work as a financial planner with Nedbank. Just want to share some pointers regarding to companies that are registered with the Financial Services Conduct Authority. Now, we find that in our communities that a lot of individuals find themselves in schemes whereby they are asked to invest an X amount for an X period, and then they are going to be given returns that are unrealistic. So the first place to start if you want to find out if an institution is authentic or not is to go into the FSCA website. So you can just go on Google and look up how to find out if a company is registered or not. What pops up on Google would be a link at the bottom, one of the tabs you'll click on, then it will give you an option where you put in an FSP number, or you'll ask you to put the company's name. Then from that search, you'll be able to identify whether you're dealing with an institution that's registered or is not registered.
ke rona ba re buile ke lebogela gore le bolo santse lona le rona le gompijeno. MEC was just, you know, with us and we talked about very critical things. Now, Ratio, MEC o buile ka good credit, bad credit. Aba re kopa gore a re bueng ka yone so that our people understand good credit, bad credit. Bua le rona about that.
Okay, no, thank you so much, Lorato. So I think no financial institution wants to dictate what type of financial loan you need to take or not, because your needs is your way.
Yes.
But that said, it is recommendable to understand the type of loan that you are entering into. If we are talking about a good credit,
Yes.
we're talking about examples like your maybe Batlaka Koloi,
Yes.
and you won't probably be able to afford it cash. right?
Okay.
And I need this car probably to go to work, or to do your daily activities, right? Then you'll be able to pay it every month.
Uh-huh.
Another example of a good credit would be a property.
Okay.
Where if you don't have the means to buy it cash, you need it for shelter, then you can then be able to reach out to the financial institution to get it. Ideally, it is not advisable to maybe go like say groceries, although it's normal where people go and buy food over a certain period. If man or somebody, she's eating pie now and she's been paying it over the last 24 months. I regulated 24 months ago. So you can already think that it's not advisable.
Right.
So, but I think at the end of the day, you are the one who needs to sit down and do proper budgeting about the things you need and the things you want, or the things that you need now and the things that you don't need now. Yeah, so that's sort of how I can explain it in terms of cricket. But again, we cannot dictate to you or do this, don't do this. Your own self-discipline should dictate.
So wa re ke ska ba ka tsaya sekoloto ke a go seja. Kore in though ke tlhoka dijo go tlong. Ha ke tsa madi ke a go Lerato ke a go mo kopa madi. E ska ba nna a ke a go rekang grocery ka one. E nne gore go na le lebaka le le botlhokwa le le dirang gore ke kope madi ao.
Absolutely.
Ke ra dumelana.
Yes.
Okay.
And also I'd like to add
Okay.
another example of what we can refer as bad credit.
Yes.
Ke ha o ya bankeng kapo ya to a financial institution and then maybe we need 10,000.
Okay.
For lebaka le botlhokwa.
Okay.
Then because we afford more credit,
Okay.
then obviously you will be informed of how much you have been approved for.
Okay.
And then you are told, for an example, or you have been approved for 50,000.
50 skat.
Aha.
Strong.
And then Jwale, you are now neglecting the real need. And then also in Kakaofela. So
Aha.
this other 40,000, that would be a very perfect example of bad credit. because
Okay.
You didn't need it at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, something very important that Lerato said earlier was the financial institutions track my spending, my requests, all of that, right? So, ha ke kopa 10, ke be ke tsaya 30 e yotlhe. You are minding that mar o rile o batla 10, mar o tsaya 30. So 20 e ya kae? That's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
So, rinne careful. Gore re ha ke ile bankeng, ke rile banka ke re ke tlhoka 10 ya besag. Na ke motho wa besag mmawe. Ke tlhoka 10 ya besag. I must keep to what I have requested. Gore ke ska ba ka nna le mathata.
Yes. Sorry, Lorato.
Come
I
in,
just
Lo.
want to come in to the point, ya dijo.
Okay.
There's, I don't know, is it a hype or whatever of a particular store that sells food, right? That you
A
would
black and
find.
white one.
Yes.
Right.
That you a letter. you
Right.
know. So you would find that people buy a mola,
Yes.
you know, waterfront,
Eh.
ba fihle ba reke dijo,
Yes.
because they possess a certain, you know, standard
Caliber.
or whatever.
Right.
But dijo tse di fela ka di 25,
Yes.
and yet the installment you're still going to pay, as Abdi Thapelo buile, for the next 12 months. That is another, I'm just adding on what Abdi Thapelo said, to say that is the bad credit that he was referring to. To say that you are eating this pie today, but you're going to pay for it for the next 12 months, 24 months. It is not good credit.
Bare re swipe dijo ko shopong eo. Bare le swipe dijo ka credit card ko shopong eo ya lona eo. While we're talking about good credit, bad credit, is it a good thing if I don't have credit at all?
Well, that's a very tricky question.
Okay.
And like Abdi Thapelo said, we cannot dictate, whether to have credit or not to have credit. So for whatever reason. But what I can say is you need to determine, do you really need the money? And if you don't need the money, find out, if you need the money but you've got alternatives, rather use the alternatives.
Right.
I'll make an example of a student loan, for example. If you can get a bursary, if you can get a scholarship, if you can arrange with the financial institution maybe to pay monthly installments instead of, I know it's re lahlela, a fishing rod in the water here, but if there are alternatives, rather use alternatives.
Talking of alternatives, Lebo, and I want to make it a practical example so that re tlhaloganye when you speak to the alternatives. Because kana go tse ding, like, gone yanong yana o rile wa re, instead, how kgona go kry-a bazar, do that,
Yes.
right? Which is an important thing. But ke batla go bua, and I want us to agree on this, gore kana go tse dingwe ko gae ke ngwanyana taung o kry-a ko gae go na le dikgomo akere
Yes.
papa na le dikgomo
Yes.
a kgona go rekisa kgomo tse pedi
You know what?
di be di nkisa sekolong.
Yes.
That's the alternative
That's an
e o
alternative.
buang ka yone.
Yes.
Instead of go godisa sekoloto se e leng gore tla re ha ke fetsa ko sekolong se se santse se le gone re tshwantse re se patale.
Exactly.
So I'm doing this alternative as an example gore batho ba rona ba tlhaloganye gore ka nako tse dingwe re kgona go tsaya se se leng gone to make sure that we do not create credit for ourselves
Yes.
that will become burdensome for bana ba rona.
Yes. And unless you're taking credit, for example, besides it being a need and you do not have alternatives, if you're taking credit to, as MEC Alabua, to create wealth, you are taking a home loan because you want to develop it and turn this house or this flat into a rental income, then you're generating wealth.
Right.
And also, like she said, we must be very careful on not over investing,
Yes.
at the same time. But I think if one finds themselves in a position where they've got a lot of debt, which leads now to stress, find a way to structure, find a plan on how you're going to, one, reduce the debt, and two, like Oslerato said, find ways in which you can pay back, the debt. But we will not dictate and say, yes, it's good to have credit, or no, it's not good to have credit. But if you do find yourself in a tricky situation, it's best to ask for help.
Can I chip in there, Lerato? Just to echo on what Lebu is sharing with us. Remember now, once you complete your studies, or once you get to that age whereby we say you are ready for the market to
Right.
start earn your income, the unfortunate part is that if you don't have credit for you to get our trust
Yes.
as the institutions,
Yes.
it's going to be challenging. So as much as we say, we're not going to say whether it's good or bad to have credit, but it's also not a good idea to have a zero credit, because now we cannot know whether or not you can be trusted.
So o batla go itse gore a ke a tshepagala
Kgotsa
ka
ha-
go
ehe.
ka go adima
Aha.
le go busa ke a go dula ke buela go kganyeng ele ya ga Buti Thapelo ya gore o tshwantse o nne le bokgoni jwa go adima le bokgoni jwa go busa.
Exactly.
So le ka yone e wena as a financial institution o batla go bona gore a ke tshepagala ha ke adimilwe a ke a tshepagala gore ke tla busa.
Exactly.
Fine.
Because remember, there is no way o tla fela out of the blue. How fitla fela o sontse hore nna ke batla sekoloto sa koloi kapa sa ntlo. We should start somewhere. So it's very important that as and when we start somewhere, we start small, we show the institutions, so you know what, we can be trusted with your money.
I see. Ratio.
Yes, I actually concur with Oslerato.
Okay.
And the very important point is to say, listeners at home, that please understand us, Hore. We are not saying in you building credit that you go and apply for credit. Say what you reckon.
Okay.
You go and apply for maybe a revolving facility like a credit card, even if you say need,
Yes.
just so that you can apply for a house. No. But what we are saying is it helps for us to have a little bit of history, for us to see what kind of a payer you are. Mara, whatever that facility was, we applied it based on the need. It's something we in the first place.
Right. Now, Larat, ke rile ka re tswa malapeng a sa lekaneng. Ke batla gore re bue le basha ka kgang ya black tax. Le gore e re ama jang when it comes to credit scoring. Ke nna o ke simolla go bereka. Ga ke na sepe. Ke kgona go ikagela bokamoso. Mara ko gae. Go tshwantse madinyana a e ko gae. Yaanong ke tshwantse ke dire balance. Ke tse fa ke patale ka kwa ke bue ka kwa ke wa ntlhaloga. A re bue ka black tax in relation to credit scoring.
Black tax, I don't want to lie, Lerato, it's something we grow up thing, and even now, even if your family, there's some way where they can maintain themselves, one way or the other, you're going to be impacted by black tax.
Right.
Now, the most critical thing that I believe each and every person should get themselves comfortable with, it's your budget. You cannot overcommit.
I see.
Meaning, I cannot overcommit hore ke tlo agela mama upstairs. Impa moropotsonyana o ke o kreyang go go mongake kwa ise wa di upstairs
Ke a
man.
go dumela.
Wa ntlhaloga.
Ke a go utlwa.
So the first thing is you need to get into reality with your affordability. Secondly, you need to get yourself accustomed to budgeting. If something is not on your budget list for that particular month, you don't do it. You pack it for the following month. Unless, of course, it's a crisis. For instance, if mama wa go founela kapa kuku wa go founela kwa khayare, yo ngwanaka ga ke a tsoga.
Yeah.
There is no way you can say, no mommy, I didn't budget for you to get sick this month. There's certain instances whereby you are forced to get out of the budget. However, you must try your level best to stick to the budget. And as and when you commit, there's a saying eke ratang tat that says you alter your jacket according to your measurement. Do not commit for more than what you can be able to afford. So if you know you need to go and help your parents, there is nothing wrong with you opening a savings account, start saving into that account so that when you go and borrow from the bank, you can say, look, I need 100,000 to help my mom renovate the house. However, I was able to raise 50. I need 50 from the bank. So get yourself used to the point, Yaure, as and when you go and ask for help, put something on the table as well and say, this is how much I could go. Now I need you to come and help me with this dream that I'm about to do for my family.
I see. Ke batla gore re simolle re tswale. Lebo basha right now ba batla go itse gore where do I start? Right? Akere ga ke na sekoloto. Ke simolola botshelo. What's the first most important thing that I must consider so that hela ha ke simolola ska ba ka senya? wa ntlhaloganya ga ke batle go senya re simolola so ha ke le ko gae ke itshebile ke re but ke siame dio tsotlhe di apere tshiamo ke nna yo ke tsene sekolo ke siame I'm in my final year ke hetsa go kry-a internship ke a go patalwa 5,000 rand ka kgwedi ke simolola botshelo what are the things I must not do ska ba ka senya kae
Instant gratification. Instant gratification, I think yona e etsang hore batho ba qetelletse ba le ko sekolotong se sa hlokahaleng because now your friends ba tsamaya ka phone e itseng because your friends ba na le meriri e itseng your friends are wearing certain clothing so hore o ska senya kore you must have discipline and like my fellow panelists have said there has to be a need for you to take up credit. You can't take credit for the fun of it. There has to be a need because once a hosna a need and then you are going, that's a reckless lending. Like you are getting credit for monad,
right?
You know, and there are products in banks that help you to build your credit score, even if ili at a snail's pace. Ukilabon, I'm not sure. Other institutions, but I know of ones and twos that they've fused certain products together to help build your credit score. So you would find that it's a check account that has got a credit card facility in it and an overdraft, but it's fused into one. So by you having this product, it already boosts your credit profile to say, to make you seem as if you've got credit, and you are able to limit maybe the overdraft limit in that account to say, I'm comfortable with 1,000 rand and it should be kept at that, you know. And you, by virtue of you having that 1,000 rand overdraft, it sort of boosts your credit score. So, and it shouldn't be, like I said, instant gratification is a problem. Don't get that cell phone contract unless it's a need, you know. Don't get that clothing store account unless it's really a need. And we have to differentiate between saying that it's a need because I need to be dressed, or it's a need because I need to be dressed expensively.
Right.
You understand?
In a particular
way. So that's
way.
how you differentiate between whether it's a need or whether it's a want. Yeah.
Ke batla ke gona ke ene we boeleditse bogararo ke batla re simplify instant gratification.
Instant gratification can toyama 2000. They want things now. So 2 minutes noodles you eat now, you know. I want
Parlo rata di 2 minutes noodles level arle baswadi 2-minute noodles.
but instant gratification. You want to be satisfied now.
Yes.
You want there was a saying Hans re hola in our careers to say that only branch manager, how dare you? You know why? Because it takes time to build up a career to get to, you know, being a branch manager, and then later on become the CEO. So instant gratification is that but wena ka master's degree how you are the CEO of the company. You understand? That's the easiest way to explain instant gratification.
Gate ha re ya sekolong we itse gore the lessons at school must match with your experiences. Ke yona ke re leo.
Yes.
Ke yona. And experiences come with time. Ga di tle gompieno go bo go hela. Ratsi, your last words to our young people, especially where credit is you know concerned. Ke eng se ba tshwantseng ba se gopole when they plan for their lives? 3 most important nuggets that they should consider.
I would say first and foremost, seek help.
Okay?
There is a lot of information available. We have information on the internet about how to be financially savvy.
Okay.
And you can be able to reach out to any financial institution that they've got financial advisors. It's free consultation. Sit with somebody. Say to them, you are young, you have not made mistakes, you'd like to not be able to, you'd like to avoid a lot of mistakes that a lot of people are facing now. which probably are going to take a lot of years for them to get out of. So find yourself to be very fortunate and really reach out for help and try to understand what is it that you should do with the resources you have. Be it you have got pocket money from your parents, be it you're already having, you know, some piece jobs and gigs on the side. Already start the habit now of looking after the resources that you have. The last point I'd like to recommend to the young people is the following. Think for the future as well. As much as I mentioned, we need to be able to guard against instant gratification. We need to then think ahead, like the Honorable MEC mentioned about building generational wealth. This is not a time now to just rely on one stream of income. This is not a time now to be complacent and think, I've got income, I've just got a job, I'm happy.
Kisiami.
Yeah, absolutely. This is now a time to really see how can you do more and get more of the financial resources that you can get, so that you find yourself, how low apply for credit, or you go there when it's necessary to do so. Yes.
Auslerat Aritswalen, I want us to have a healthy credit score, jaaka batho, especially batho ba rona ba bantsho, especially batho ba rona who are young, because ke batla gore re simolole botshelo sentle. How do we build a healthy credit score? Very importantly, but very shortly.
Ke a leboga Lerato. Ke kopa ke ske ka bua le batjha because
Okay.
of my colleagues have already spoken to our youth. Ke kopa go bua le batsadi. Jaaka batsadi, let's get used to talking about financial matters with our children.
Okay?
Let it not be something that comes as a surprise. Gore na life e re tshwaretseng ko ntle. Let us make it very, very known. Let us make it something that we get into the habit of. Ya gore from time to time we sit down with our kids and we talk money matters with them.
Right.
I believe by doing so, we make them understand where money doesn't go from trees. And we guard them from doing these stupid mistakes that we see happening from time to time. So let's normalize making sure that we engage with our kids. And let's normalize making sure that we tell our kids, we can't. So that they know that there's a point in life whereby you can't. And then as simple as that.
I think the issue of credit scoring goes very well with the issue of budgeting and debt. You know, there's a balance in that conversation. Well, ke rona ba re buile sekgowa sa tšhelete. Re rutegile ya ka re tlwaetse go rutega. Re le batho ba ba botoka. And ka gore the policy is, if you know better, you do better. And that's what we want you to do. Ke rona ba ra be re heditse gompijeng ra boa gape beke e tlang re tla ba re bua sekgowa se sengwe gape re bala masheleng a rona jaaka re tlwaetse ke nna Lorato Kgomolemo. We are thankful. Thank you to my panel. It's been a great day. Thank you so much. We're grateful also that the MEC was able to join us earlier. The conversation gets better and better each day. We also want to thank our hosts, the Melted Butter, right in the middle of Bloom. Do visit them. They've got beautiful rooms. Come and spend the day here. Letsatsi le tswa sentle ko morago kwa o go itulela o nwe coffee le tee o itumelle letsatsi la gago. Tlholang sentle bagolo a go nne le kagišo ko gae. Ke a itumela.